Okay, so let's just jump right in. We have all seen that label made in China more times than we can count, right? It's on our clothes, our phones, pretty much everything. But the story behind that simple little label, well, it's been going through this absolutely massive change at a speed that's honestly caught a lot of the world off guard.
For the longest time, the perception was simple. China makes cheap stuff. It was the world's factory, right? The place you went for low-cost, high-volume manufacturing. But what if I told you that while we were all buying those affordable gadgets, China was playing a completely different game, quietly leapfrogging into the innovation space and turning that whole image on its head?
And really, that's the heart of what we're talking about today. This quote from China Perspectives just nails it. The idea that China is just a copycat, that's quickly becoming a look in the rearview mirror. The reality today is so much more complex and, frankly, way more competitive. So, let's start by officially busting that myth. It's time to move past this outdated picture of China as just the factory of the world. Look, being the world's workshop was an absolutely crucial phase. Of course it was. It's how they built incredible supply chains, how they piled up capital, and how a whole generation learned the ins and outs of manufacturing. But here's the key. It was never the end goal. It was just the foundation for something way, way bigger. And this shift from factory to innovator, it didn't just happen by accident. No, it was a deliberate step-by-step journey, a process of moving from simple imitation to genuine and sometimes totally disruptive improvement. You can think of it as the journey of the thing. It's this fascinating model for how Chinese companies would take a product, take a piece of tech, absorb everything about it, and then systematically work their way up to surpassing it. It's a playbook that's been run with incredible precision. So how does this journey actually unfold? Well, first, you study the thing. You really study it. Take it apart, reverse engineer it, maybe even acquire the company that makes it, whatever it takes to understand it inside and out. Second step, make it cheaper. This is pure cost innovation, using China's huge domestic supply chains. Third, and this is where it gets interesting, you start to make it better. This is where real product innovation kicks in. And finally, step 4, you add new features, sometimes really surprising ones, to create something totally new and different. And this isn't just theory, you can see the results everywhere. Think about DJI. They took drones, which were this niche, super expensive hobby, and made them a tool for creators everywhere. Or think about some of the wild feature innovations, like putting facial recognition in elevators. You see it in the incredible design of electric vehicles from companies like NIO. And of course, in deep tech breakthroughs, like Huawei developing its own advanced 5G chips.
Now, this whole journey isn't just happening on a company-by-company basis. Oh no. It is being driven by a massive, coordinated national strategy. The goal? To make China a global leader in technology. Period. And this strategy has a name, Made in China 2025. It's basically the country's playbook for modernizing its entire industrial base. It's targeting 10 really specific high-tech sectors. And you can see it's not just about gadgets. We're talking about robotics, aerospace, new materials, you name it. The objective here is crystal clear: self-sufficiency. They want to cut down their reliance on foreign tech, pour money into homegrown R&D, and build Chinese companies that can go out and win on the world stage. And the results? Well, get this. In 2023 alone, China filed 1.58 million patent applications. To put that into perspective, that is more than the next 10 countries combined. This isn't a copycat economy anymore. It's an invention engine. And this brings us to a really critical turning point. For years, people complained about IP theft in China. A professor once said that China would start taking intellectual property laws seriously the moment they had their own IP to protect. Well, with over 1.5 million patents a year, I'd say they have something to protect now. So, what's the secret sauce here? What makes all this possible? If you boil it all down, it comes to one word: speed. China's speed isn't just some catchy phrase, it's a core business strategy. Just look at this comparison. For a Western company, a typical R&D cycle, say for a new phone, might take 2, maybe 3 years. Their Chinese competitors, they're often doing it in 12 to 18 months. That is a gigantic competitive advantage. So how on earth do they do it? It's the whole ecosystem.
It's built for speed. The supply chains are all right there, everything's nearby. They have this huge domestic market to test new ideas and get feedback almost instantly. The infrastructure is digital first. I mean, everybody uses mobile payments. And maybe most importantly, there's this culture that's willing to launch, fail fast, and iterate. It's a 3 steps forward, 2 steps back kind of mindset.
And this isn't just some vague cultural thing. It's a data-driven national mission. This table shows the actual KPIs for the Made in China 2025 plan. You can see there are hard targets for R&D spending, for patents, for productivity, even for things like reducing energy consumption. This is a plan for real, measurable change.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the rest of us, for the world? Because this massive shift, it isn't happening in a bubble. It is fundamentally reshaping the entire global economy. This chart here really paints a picture of the ripple effects. And notice who's most exposed. It isn't the low-cost manufacturing countries. No, it's the highly advanced, high-tech economies. Countries like South Korea, Germany, and Japan are suddenly finding themselves with a brand new, super fast-moving competitor in the exact industries they used to dominate. And you better believe international observers are paying attention. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce put it this way: it's a strategy to use state money to completely change the rules of global competition. So the fear isn't just that they're building better products, it's that they're trying to create a whole new playing field. Which leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about. You know, the old story says that slow and steady wins the race. But in a world where R&D cycles are 12 months long and companies are constantly iterating, is that still true? Has China, with its emphasis on speed, permanently changed the rules of innovation, not just for itself, but for everyone?